Really? Put my Christmas tree away? It's Christmas still, dude. It was just like 2 degrees out the other day. It's Christmas. This is Christmas. It's crazy. This time is here. It's not February. It's still winter. It's still snowing out. Evergreen trees are not just for Christmas, okay? Stop spreading your paganist anti. Who's God Emperor? What the hell? Promise. I promise. The world's gonna be great soon. Donald Trump is gonna wake up one day and be like, guys, it's all a meme. It's all a meme. It's a meme. It was a big social experiment, okay? It was all jokes. Little reality TV show. Trump is actually a revolutionary socialist, and he wants to give everyone health care. Can't prove me wrong. True. Oh my god. That's capital. That's capital, dude. That's capital. 1 second, I'm putting something else up. Who is the real president? Kendrick Lamar. We're gonna have a 3-way race. There you go. My glasses are dirty. The government does answer to the people. It does. Dude. Okay, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Why are someone called me at 8 a.m. on this line? Kind of crazy. Am I actually live? There's someone that requests money from Cash App every single day when I go live. That's amazing. Just getting by. Uneducated for sure. Working on people's taxes. We don't gotta pay those no more, dude. You don't need to pay taxes, because the IRS is not real anymore. We have a external revenue service, not an internal. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? Wait. Okay, here's another good one. Really good one.
Honestly, I'm a business guy. I understand this world very, very well. I want them to follow that money. honestly, I'm a business guy. I understand this world very, very well.
I feel like my least favorite thing, one of my least favorite things about Trump is the idea you can say, I'm a business guy. I know this thing. They spend so much time creating this like reality television persona and narrative for themselves. Instead of showing any understanding of what's happening.
I want them to follow that money, right? Because it's more than, again, the shrimp dancing on the treadmill. It's more than the $50 million for the condoms to Gaza.
Okay, the shrimp was a complete lie. Okay, they said millions of dollars went to it. It was like I think like $1,000. The first one was self-funded. Then you got $1,000 to do the shrimp study. They said it was like 50 million or something crazy.
I want them to
the condoms to Gaza was fully
follow
debunked.
those purchase orders and actually see if any of those products actually.
Are they still putting it on the screen too? There's no way they're putting it on the screen too.
I understand this world very, very well. It's insane when you honestly. I'm a business guy. I understand this world very, very well.
Yeah, it's insane when you. Yeah, this is a good one right here. LOL, I'm a business guy who understands the world very well. It's definitely something a business guy who understands the world very well would say. It's like, yeah, if you really understand something, you don't need to convince us. You just show us, brother. Like, I'm such a good basketball player. They give you a ball. I'm not going to shoot it in front of you. Like, what am I, a basketball player? I do best under, in private. What's your proof it was debunked? You can call in and ask me. I want proof that it happened first. Because all you guys just believe when you see like a flashy picture on social media. So I don't know what I can even respond to. Like, hey, disprove this thing I made up.
Everyone leaves, they go back. This has been going.
Gaza Strip revival plan triggers strong rebuke. Okay, so the New York Times also said something like the Gaza redevelopment plan, all right? And the plan is to kick everyone out, all right? So an ethnic cleansing. You don't let them back, and you treat it like a real estate transaction. It's a very violent thing. They're essentially like they're saying Palestinians should leave. And they asked them a question like, what if they can't leave? And Trump says, they'll be gone. Like, they'll be gone. It's a common tactic you use. Like, hey, you better leave by this date. You don't let them leave, and then you just, like, get rid of them through other means. So, I mean, this is a really scary situation here.
It's terrible. Everyone leaves. They go back. This has been going on for forever, right? Forever. Now it's essentially a demolition site. There's practically no building that's livable in the whole thing, on the whole Gaza Strip. I say, we go in, we knock them all down, we just create something. No more Hamas, there's no Hamas there, there's nobody there. We move them into beautiful areas of the Middle East. I'd like to go to Egypt. They have a lot of land. I'd like to go to Jordan. I'd like to go to others.
So Adolf Hitler had a thing called the Madagascar Plan, where they're going to send all the Jewish people to islands and stuff like that. And that was one of their first solutions. The final solution was the Holocaust, where they wanted to kill Jewish people, put them in camps, etc. But they decided they needed to move Jewish people out of Germany somehow, whether that's through death or through immigration. They would not do it in good faith at all. They would isolate Jewish people from the rest of the world. Some Jewish people were able to leave, but ultimately their final solution was just to exterminate them. Now, this situation, Trump is making the standards really weird when he says, for example, Hamas needs to hand over every hostage by Saturday at noon, or all hell's going to break loose. And the ceasefire, Israel has not followed it at all. They have not followed it correctly as they were supposed to. So we have a situation now where if Palestinians either don't get the message or cannot leave, if they're blocked in, if countries don't take them, and Trump says all hell's going to break loose, they can just say you didn't give the hostages back that we wanted, and as Trump said, flatten the place to the ground, which would then be categorically not only an ethnic cleansing, but also a full-on, like, that's a full genocide at that point, right? That's completing the genocide. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden sucked on this issue. I do think Kamala Harris, her in office, we'd be having a different conversation. It was never even suggested that we would make the Gaza Strip a real estate empire. That was a full Donald Trump, Jared Kushner thing. But we are here now. At least Kamala wanted to negotiate for some type of two-state solution. and a real ceasefire. The ceasefire that Biden already had planned in like April, and Israel said no to until Trump got in office because they were probably working together behind the scenes. They were working together. But yeah, it's a lot worse now than we ever thought it would be. We did not think Trump was going to say we're going to take ownership of it and build casinos and hotels, kick them out, and never allow Palestinians to return to the area. That was never even thought of, even by Trump's team, by the way. This is a new secret plan we did not know about. But yeah, it's another reason. There's not even protests right now for Trump. And people would say they want to make Democrats lose. They hate liberals. So a lot of protesters will protest Kamala, but not protest Trump. It's also because they know they can influence Democrats and Kamala. They don't think they can influence Trump, and they don't think it's safe to protest Trump. A lot of the pro-Palestine protesters. So yeah, protesters are a lot more quiet now. I'm not seeing it spammed on social media nearly as much. But yeah, really bad things are happening here.
And we'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. But
we're going to build communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. What does that even mean?
Of the Middle East. I'd like to go to Egypt. They have a lot of land. I'd like to go to Jordan. I'd like to go to others. And we'll build beautiful communities for
Egypt, Jordan, others.
For the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. But we'll build safe communities.
And did someone say, for example, that for Palestinians, the population was 2.2 million or something like that? So now if the population is 1.9, then that means like 300 or 400,000 people have died?
A little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future.
Well, that's crazy.
It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking
this is
about
insane. It's insane. Yeah, if you want to hear a speech justifying like a Holocaust or genocide or a domicide, which is like removing, like blowing up the buildings and stuff, leaving no livability in the area. I think that's a domicide. I'm pretty sure. If you want to hear how throughout history leaders have justified atrocities, this is the wording they used. Like, we're going to make sure we find a whole nother thing for them, get them out of there. They can't return. We're going to make a huge development out of it. He's saying we're going to purge them from the land, and they're not able to return. And he's saying we're going to build these communities in these other countries, which have not given commitments to it. And he's saying it's going to be beautiful. 2 countries, 3 other countries. We're going to build amazing communities for them. It's like there's no commitment for that at all. There's not even commitment for the funding for the U.S. to do this. But it seems like Jared Kushner said, it's going to be great beachfront property in Gaza. In my opinion, I think they're trying to make like an American version of Dubai. So an American Dubai in a sense of just pure gluttony, gambling, fighting, UFC, whatever else. It'll be another big money capital of the world. And that's obviously really scary, really dystopian. But you're hearing the modern version of what those speeches sounded like.
Building a permanent.
Probably from someone a lot dumber, though. I guarantee you, like Hitler or Mussolini or whoever, or Stalin probably sounded a lot more intelligent when they were giving the message. I mean, maybe not. I never actually. It's hard to read it through translations, obviously, because there's different meanings in the words, but.
They're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words,
better
I'm talking about
housing.
building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
Okay. There was a really interesting thing when Donald Trump cut foreign aid funding, where he kept it for Israel and Egypt, right? So I feel like that was probably intentional to try and bridge that gap, I assume. I'm not sure what the relations are like with Egypt. But yeah, really, really awesome, I guess. In the meantime, I would own this. I think, think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land. It would be a beautiful piece of land, bro. It would be beautiful. And yeah, the way Netanyahu was just like smiling his ass off the entire time, he was having a good old time, bro. He was having a good old time. He was laughing his ass off. Do you see the golden pager they gave Trump? Like the golden pagers they blew up? Yeah, I don't know.
This is off, but the second you partner with Benjamin Netanyahu for America to take over fucking Gaza, your argument about abortion and saving kids goes out the fucking window. Because that man has been blowing kids off the face of this fucking planet for a year. And y'all are just, oh, turn a blind eye. We'll make Gaza beautiful again. Riviera of the Middle East. Miss.
You know, the crazy part about this is, like the guy I spoke to yesterday, he'd probably be okay with it. They are Christian crusaders. They're more like crusaders. They're not really, they want domination. God is only a means to domination for them. There was the Donald Trump, there was a Donald Trump statue, like Trump money statue. I think I might have shared it to my profile, actually. This was insane. The Trump statue was pretty much, where's it at? Oh yeah, another interesting thing. So, 1 second. I'll take your call in a second. I saw someone was calling. Okay. So Tucker Carlson was in the White House the other day with Musk and Trump, obviously, in the Oval Office. He is a direct Russian propagandist. He is a Russian agent, unironically. It's very well known. You can see his interview with Piers Morgan. It's very clear. It's been clear for a long time. He does like propaganda trips to Russian grocery stores to say how amazing it is to be in Russia. Remember, you cannot hear from a civilian in Russia about how it is to be in Russia because they are restricted from accessing media that can talk to the outside world and everything like that, which is one reason USAID is really good because they help establish media connections and independent journalism that can help reach citizens in countries like this. But that's not here nor there. I mean, it is, but whatever. But this is the new lie, is that Ukraine is reselling half of the American-supplied weapons to Mexican cartels operating along the U.S. border. Up to 50% of American weapons sent to Ukraine are redirected and sold. This is not speculation. It's a fact. Okay, it's a fact. Based off what? Okay.
Alps, which is probably the most expensive town in the world. I was not there to ski, for the record. But the whole town is Ukrainian. You know, all the visitors are Ukrainian, and they're rolling into Air Maze and dropping $1 million in an afternoon. Okay, so it's all through Europe. You see this. The richest people are the Ukrainians. That money is ours. It belongs to me.
The
and
richest people are the Ukrainians, bro. Don't mention the Russian oligarchs, okay, at all. He cannot criticize Russia. If he does criticize Russia, he'll say, well, Ukraine's worse. They're like more corrupt. It's like a dictatorship there in Ukraine. Meanwhile, we have free press in Ukraine. They welcome journalists to come look at what they're doing. Ukraine is extremely transparent because they're under attack. But yeah, the Russian oil oligarchs are the real big spenders, big wealthy guys. Ukraine, dude, Ukraine are they're controlling the world, bro. Ukraine's running the world. They have all the richest people.
Every other American taxpayer. That's where it's going.
And it's a direct attack from the American taxpayer or on the American taxpayer. That's how they frame it. The populist framing of, they're coming after you. They're using your tax dollars in this way for the rich Ukrainians to sell the weapons to Mexican cartels.
Fact, not guess. Fact. That's where it's going. Second fact, not guess. Fact.
So you got to say fact 3 times in a row for the social conditioning to work, all right? If you say, I saw yesterday, there's people at the store eating big piles of baby blood, and it's a fact. It's a fact. It is a fact. It's not opinion. It's a fact. Like, it's a fact. If you don't agree with me, you are crazy. And that's like the gaslighting. Obviously, a really hyperbolic example, but still, that's why they use certain words and alliteration, repetition. They use a lot of literary devices to really pound in the social engineering they do.
Second fact, not guess. Fact is Ukrainian military is selling a huge percentage, up to half of the arms that we send them. Half. And I'm not guessing about this. I know that for a fact, okay? Not speculation.
Fact. Keep saying fact. Okay. You're convincing me. Fact. Not speculation. Don't provide any sources, all right? Don't provide one source. Not one source. You just got to say fact. It's a fact. Not speculation. Fact.
And they're selling it, and a lot of us winding up with the drug cartels on our border. So this is a crime. What's happening? Our intel agencies are fully aware of this. You tell me they're not profiting from this. Of course, you think CIA
I mean, the CIA might. Oh yeah, they're profiting from it now. Yeah, you can make up any conspiracy, and the White House is a disinformation mill now. The White House is just as bad as the Kremlin now. Like unironically, the White House is talking about $100 million of condoms being sent to Hamas still. The 2 billion condoms were sent to Hamas. Yeah, they're still saying that somehow. I cannot imagine being a human being and being that dishonest, aggressively dishonest. But yeah, Ukraine would not risk. All right, their biggest issue right now is not only weapons, but it's security backing from these countries. They want a security deal. That's why they want to do NATO. Okay, they want to be in NATO for security guarantees. Okay, they don't want to just like join NATO for funsies to attack Russia. They do not want to be fighting at all. They want the regular borders, maintain those sovereign territories. They want Russia to stop annexing parts of Ukraine. All right, that's what they want. Crimea, the Donbass, and moving in more now to Kiev and everywhere else. Like Russia is trying to section off areas of Ukraine. They want security guarantees. They're not going to jeopardize their chance to get security guarantees because they want to sell drugs to the Mexican cartel, bro.
But they don't know this. They know this. And no one is saying it. Like, no American seems aware of this. We're sending these arms to Ukraine.
Then you also say, why is no one talking about this? It's a fact, not speculation. Why is no one talking about this?
Hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's being stolen and sold to our
hundreds of billions.
Like, what the? I'm trying not to swear. What?
To our actual enemies.
Is this?
By the way, our actual... Oh, look at this. Look at this guy. Our actual enemies, okay? Here's a list of our enemies. I have a good video of Trump from earlier, too. I might want to look that up quick. Our enemies are Canada, Mexico, Panama, and Greenland. Okay, those are the enemies. Our friends... Oh, yeah, we also hate, like, France and stuff. Our friends are China. We love China. We love Hungary. We love Russia. We love North Korea. Those are our friends. Trump never talks negatively about actual authoritarian powers. He only talks bad about liberal free democracies. If you've ever noticed the way he speaks, he kisses China's ass 24/7.
Yeah, well, the reason why is because you have Zelensky. It was about 3 weeks ago, I think, was specifically asked this question. So he went at some length in one of his interviews to say, "Oh no, absolutely not. There's no truth to that at all. We've implemented all this thing." I know that, but the media just reported what he said.
Zelensky, by the way, said that's not true. We are very transparent. The media is here. Like, they open media up to the world. They want journalists to come. That's a very intentional thing they do. They want America there. They want America there supervising things. They want to make sure that there is oversight because they want the security guarantees. And he just said, here's what we do to guarantee the money's being used in different areas. That's what Zelensky said. He said we get a certain amount in cash, a certain amount in weapons, some in loans. We should unfreeze Russian assets to use against them, etc. So Zelensky goes through and provides detailed explanations for why this is a lie. But for them, they just say, dude, this is a fact, not speculation. It's a fact. Why does no one talk about this? The American public doesn't know because it's a conspiracy. The CIA is profiting, the FBI is profiting, and Ukraine is purposely funding our enemies, the Mexican cartel. Yeah, fact.
Now, the New York Times could get on the web and order Ukrainian weapons. That's a fact. I'm not guessing. It's a fact.
Dude, how many times do they gotta say fact? Bro, if I say fact that many times in a conversation, I'm probably just gonna be lying to you. I'll be honest. If I need to say fact with this look on my face, like, you know that person's lying.
They could do that today. Like,
that's insane. Like, it shouldn't be convincing. Even if you know nothing about this situation, I guess this is why Americans get scammed so easily by car companies and by like loan companies and whatever else. They get scammed because they believe like really like bad liars. I don't even think this is convincing, but I guess like maybe myself having a prior knowledge base helps me know it's not convincing. So maybe if I knew nothing, I'd be convinced. But I feel like I know like when a car salesman's bullshitting me. I don't know much about cars, but I know when I'm getting bullshitted. And I feel like you should be able to tell that he's like lying in any situation, in relationships and in other areas. I feel like you should just be able to tell. Like, I don't know. All right, drop a like on the stream. We have 18 likes on the short stream. Drop a like on the stream. Thank you for joining me. We'll start taking calls if you want to. Yep, all the weapons are accounted for. Thank you, Vandred. Yep. Tucker Carlson made it up. Source, trust me, bro. We're going to build beautiful housing.
Ow.
Beautiful housing for the Palestinians. These propaganda articles are crazy. I guess we can analyze more propaganda. Is this like a... So this is what we see as propaganda on X, for example. The machine fights back. Elon Musk is raging against the machine. He is definitely not the machine. He's raging against it, by the way. Oh no. His name is Tony. I know a guy that makes pizza named Tony. Hello.
Hi, Jolah?
Yeah, what's up?
Not much, man. Hey, I just wanted to go over something that you posted after the Super Bowl last night and just have a discourse about it.
Hell yeah. That's a fun conversation.
Okay.
Which one?
So, it was the one you shared. I can't remember what Republican it was, but he's one of those Republican pundits. But you shared his tweet, which said, Trump won. We don't want these talentless satanic pagans performing at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was something to that effect. And you posted it in quotations, the Trumps want, get the blacks off the stage. Now, nowhere in the tweet or anything you shared did anything explicitly mention race, but you were the first person to bring up race, and in fact, you misrepresented a quote from a certain group of people, making it seem like they yelled, get the blacks off the stage. So my question is why do you think it's appropriate to flame racial fires in order to make a point for your own side?
I'm not flaming racial fires, okay? I am calling out when people use evasive language to be racist. So, for example, calling black people thugs, calling them DEI, calling them woke, okay? So when they say it's a DEI halftime performance, or, you know, this is a mumbling fool up there, and also I saw a lot of, and I know people as well, who say, wow, this is some dumb African tribal music. He's dancing around on stage. When they say that kind of stuff, I'm like, okay, well, you're essentially saying that you're mad that, you know, you're not being represented on stage. And typically when they say, oh, this is a DEI performance, they mean black. They use DEI as a replacement for black.
Well, I get what you're saying. I really do. But my point is that, I mean, you yourself used the quote that nobody said that was pretty controversial in and of itself. You said, get those blacks off the stage. So you yourself are creating a controversial
No, I'm not
comment.
creating it. I'm calling out what they are actually saying. I'm saying I'm saying what they are actually saying, though. That's the point of the comment.
Well, that's not what they actually said. That's what you said.
But they're using evasive language. Do you know what like a dog whistle is?
So if you're using evasive language, that doesn't make any sense. So you're saying that all that from what that guy tweeted was him saying that we don't want black people on the stage? I know a number of people, if they had a white guy up there with this generation of rap, a lot of people don't like rap. A lot of people don't like nowadays rap.
Well, Eminem was on there a few years ago. They like
call rap mumble rap. So people who don't
only white
know
people call it mumble rap, to be honest. That's a white person.
There's plenty of white rappers I know that I would call mumble rap, and I'm sure multiple people,
who do you think is like mumble
rap
for white?
Demographic would consider mumble
rap. I mean,
rap.
like who? Like Lil Xan or like?
I mean, that's a good enough example. I don't know if he's necessarily relevant anymore.
Oh, he's not white. Never mind. I don't think he's white, actually. I'm not sure.
I think he is.
I'm bringing up the tweet, or not the tweet, but the short from after the Super Bowl. 1 second. I'm going to play it really quick for the audience so they know what we're talking about.
It's really awesome how you can see Trump's America is in full effect, because there's so many people posting right now about how, you know, Donald Trump won. Don't you guys know it? It's time to get the blacks off the stage. It's amazing how offended they get over literally everything. Calling Tim Walz's white guy tacos joke anti-white racism, crying about...
Okay, so the exact quote that I went off of, okay, it says, hey, NFL, Trump won. We no longer let talentless, mumbling, pagan, satanic cultists do halftime shows and pretend like people like it. Thanks, everyone. Do you not think anything that he says there has a connotation that says, hey guys, Trump won. Don't let these dumb black rappers on stage. And also when they say the DEI halftime show, no one wants to see the DEI halftime show. You don't think those are racially charged?
I don't see anything about DEI in that tweet, for one. And for two, when I read the tweet, I didn't interpret anything about black people and we need to get the black people off the stage. I feel like that's you creating subtext in your own mind. Now, sure, I'm sure there's a portion of the Republican base, maybe, or the MAGA base, who doesn't want a black rapper up on stage. I'm sure you got a lot of hillbilly hicks out there.
No,
but
but
the
people that make
reality
comments
is
like
that
that are
tweet
saying that.
itself,
Is what I'm saying.
that tweet itself was sensational. It definitely was. Now, your response to that, rather than coming at it at a logical point of view and explaining it basic language, you sensationalized yourself and that tweet even more to further create a discourse which could be considered controversial.
I'm saying what they really mean, though. I'm sick of them hiding behind certain language. Like, cancel culture is gone. Don't say mumbling African tribal Satanist, paganist, whatever. Like, say what you actually
they
mean.
would have said that, hey, we want the black people off the stage for
No,
your
they
own
don't.
argument.
No, they don't. They say DEI. They call it like a DEI concert, or they call them the DEI. You know, they're a DEI employee or a DEI pilot, or whatever. So like, yeah, it's gonna be like people saying mumbling, and like Kendrick Lamar. The rapping he was doing is very, very tight rapping. It's hard to do that for that many words, for that kind of performance and moving around that much. But he did a lot of rapping with no backtrack. So calling it a mumbling mess, this other guy calls it African.
I mean, I'm not.
He's definitely not a mumble rapper.
I personally like Kendrick Lamar. I would like so.
DEI halftime show. What do you think? Like,
and I got Pimp a Butterfly on vinyl, so I can't be considered a Kendrick Lamar.
So like, when someone says a DEI halftime show, what do you think they mean by DEI halftime show? This is one of the biggest like Trump operatives, Jack Posobiec. When he says DEI halftime show, do you not think that means black?
I'll agree with you there. I didn't see nothing about no DEI halftime show. I'm not saying that didn't exist or anything, but
are you on Facebook?
If I saw that, I would constitute that as somewhat racist. Yeah.
Are you on Facebook?
No, I'm actually not on Facebook.
Okay, that might be why though. That might be why you don't agree, because I am on Facebook. I talk to people from very white areas, and I hear what they say. Some places I know shut off the performance, said, "What is this trash? This ghetto trash?" And they put on just like a different song instead during the halftime performance, or they just like muted it. So like that stuff does happen, and that's the point of Kendrick's performance, by the way, too, with the Samuel Jackson being in the Uncle Sam role.
To say that constitutes a majority of the MAGA base in itself.
I didn't say a majority, but I will say a majority is happy that DEI is being eliminated, and I think being against DEI shows racist inclinations. If that's like a main policy issue for you.
Why would explain to me why you would believe it would be racist?
Because, I mean, if you want to argue against diversity, equity, and inclusion to the point where you want to ban it versus having a conversation on it, like Trump's banning it. If you're a federal employee, you can't talk about diversity at all, or you get fired. They scan their computers to make sure there's nothing about diversity. They're covering up the word diversity and liberty and justice on the walls. They're just like painting over them. So like when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, it also helps rural white people. It helps, anyone with a disability. So like, DEI being seen as anti-white racism, which is what the White House said. The White House said this. It's anti-white racism to do DEI. If you're saying like diversity, equity, and inclusion is a bad thing, and you don't have an argument other than it's like eroding society, then yeah, I think that's a pretty racially charged statement.
Well, I don't think eroding, for most people who are against the DEI argument, I don't think the erosion of society is where they're coming from. I think, and let's not.
Okay, I'm sorry. One extra thing, sir. I'm sorry, but one extra thing. The Trump White House, this is their official position. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if like 51% of Trump supporters are against what's happening, or like they're like slightly pro-diversity, or like they kind of like MLK. If they are okay with this administration, they're having an authoritarian top-down crackdown on the First Amendment, like right now with the diversity stuff, and they're like pushing private companies to do the same thing, to cut everything about diversity. So I would say that if you are supporting if you're supporting Trump doing that, and Trump is rolling back civil rights executive orders that LBJ passed in 1965 or whatever, then I'd say you're complicit in that, and you probably agree with it. That'd be my argument.
So I understand your point. What I'm saying is to infer coming back to the DEI thing, the major contention of supporters, and I wouldn't argue a lot of them are racist. I think that's also inflammatory. But what I'm saying is, it's not the erosion of society they're concerned for. When they're presenting an issue where somebody is being picked over their skin color more than a qualified person. I mean, that's where most of the concern is. It's not because they don't like black people.
Okay, I'm sorry. The idea that you've been propagandized to think DEI is anti-meritocracy alone is extremely racist of a position. DEI makes things more fair in the hiring process, not less fair. The thing that makes things less fair is money getting into things, legacy admissions, people knowing rich people getting jobs from the rich friends or doing corrupt activities. That's the big power imbalance in society. If anyone says DEI is anti-meritocracy, that's a racist position, because it's not. Any critical evaluation of the policies would say, like, for example, Fortune 500 CEOs, 93% are white. The manager class in general, 80% are white. All straight white men, I mean. Only like 1% is women.
From
and
your
like a very
position, you're making it sound like there's no ifs, ands, or buts if they're racist. I just don't think that's fair to categorize all those people as racist.
Okay, I'm just saying if you
it.
complain about DEI 24/7 and race and gender, then yeah, you probably are focusing your politics around that topic, and I think it's a really weak position to come from. So that's why I'm so hard on it, because I want people to care about real policies that can help everyone. And like I said, DEI also benefits rural white people. It benefits poor people as well, helping poor people have opportunities that only rich kids typically have. So DEI has been positive for meritocracy.
If you wanted to further issues you find more important, why do you spend so much time arguing over what you view to be a pointless ordeal in DEI? Wouldn't you want to push something that would be more positive?
I think DEI is fine. It's mostly a corporate initiative or like done by random schools or whatever. But most offices are just about
you just said it was
overall
unimportant
justice.
to have a dialogue about, but you're fanning the flames of the dialogue itself.
I'm not fanning the flames of the dialogue. I'm participating in the current climate of politics where you need to be abrasive to even get your voice out there, because everyone's following. Like, Trump is one of the dumbest people in American history. Like, he unironically is like a literal dumbass. He doesn't know what the word grocery means, unironically. He just found out what that means a year ago. So when we're in a society where people think Trump is a genius that's going to save the world, then yeah, I need to have more direct rhetoric. It's just like a product of the times. If people did direct policy evaluations, we would be voting for a lot, much different candidates. And like Trump versus Kamala would not even be close. She would beat him by 40 states if we did just direct policy analysis. But the culture war is what got Donald Trump over the edge. The culture war, and that's why Trump focuses on it, the trans people in sports and Black Lives Matter and pronouns. Those are the big things that got Trump huge, angry support, because people feel like they're under attack by those things. And also like blaming foreign aid and stuff like that.
I don't know where you're from. I'm from the Midwest. And, I'm around a lot of farmers. And I think personally your evaluation of the Trump base is way off. I'm sure there's those people in the southern states, man, or whatever, they got that racism in their bones. But people voted for Trump because the farmers were getting fucked. There's a lot of different
Donald Trump's policies are extremely anti-farmer.
Transgender bathrooms.
No, but that's the thing, though. Trump's policies suck for farmers. Trump screws over farmers. His policies suck for farmers. His current USAID closing is. I know, but they agree with him on social issues. I know farmers too. The soybean trade, Trump literally had to bail them out with like $30 billion in 2018 because his tariffs cut off all their ability to engage in global commerce, because we had retaliatory tariffs from like China, for example. So farmers get screwed over.
Your farmers went through a lot different than where I am at. Where are you at?
It's still Midwest. Soybean farmers, like in Iowa has the highest peak of soybean farmers. Indiana has tons.
Yeah,
like all these Midwest countries. Yeah, these countries. But we had to bail them out with taxpayer dollars because we screwed over our farmers.
The farmers I haven't met a single farmer who's had anything negative to say about Donald Trump.
I know, but they agree on social issues. I know farmers that would vote for Bernie Sanders if he wasn't pro-abortion or pro-choice. They only vote Trump because of the social issues.
Better than Kamala Harris.
No, but still, like the social issues are the driving reason people vote, and that's why union members, even like Teamsters union, voted for Trump, and Trump is 100% worse for unions than Biden or Kamala.
I'm genuinely curious. What farmers did you meet in like what part of the country that told you?
I travel all throughout Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I'm in all these states. Those 3 states I know a decent amount about. But like they got bailouts for sure. But like right now, for example, USAID being cut, a lot of that funding went to farmers because we sell food through international waters. We provide food to different countries that we pay our farmers for in America. We have a lot of different funding mechanisms. Like a policy analysis between these different candidates. I don't know. The issue is that when people are voting, they are driven mostly by the social stuff because that's what hits in their hearts more. People vote with their minds, or they vote with their like hearts over their minds typically. It's a really hard balance there because like Joe Biden left with the lowest approval rating in American history, but his policies were much better than Trump's were. He just was dealt a shittier hand.
So I just want to get back to this because I've seen your channel a couple times and I know that you're a believer in Christ as well. I did want to make a point that one thing Jesus did teach us was that, if we believe somebody was wrong or, we thought they weren't necessarily up to snuff intelligence-wise, that we would try and meet them at their level and, speak to them, like, one-to-one. One thing I've seen you do is you do like to morally grandstand your points, and you like to talk over people, and you actually like to personally insult them. And I just wanted to say, as a fellow follower of Christ, I don't think that's the way you should be talking to people.
Who did you vote for?
And also, who did I vote? I didn't vote.
Oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore then. You're worthless. I don't care.
Okay,
I can talk
God
to someone
bless
else
you.
who did vote. Yeah, have a good night. If you don't vote, I don't give a shit, honestly. You gotta have fun. GG's. I'm sure he's gonna stand up for the Palestinians. Okay. The brand of Christianity that's winning right now in America is winning because they're assholes. That's why they're winning. They're willing to lie. They're willing to be angry. They're willing to divide and conquer. That's why the Christianity brand in America is winning, because they are idolizing Trump to an extreme level, doing things such as, I don't know if I have it on here right now. Let me see if I have it down here really quick. I think I shared it because it was really bad. It happened again. Someone donated money to say I'm wearing lipstick. Thank you for looking at my lips, you gay.
Call from.
Nice. Hello.
What's up?
Not much. How are you?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that you treat the people that call you like shit. You have no open mind.
I'm not here for crybabies, bro. I'm not here for crybabies. Honestly, bro. If you voted Donald Trump, you cannot call in saying that I treat people bad and I don't have an open mind. I have exhibited on multiple fronts that I have long conversations with reasonable people. I have changed minds of people in the middle. It's just when you come in with an ideology that I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to insult you. If you suck up to someone who's trying to erode our Constitution right now, we're in a constitutional crisis. If you're a little pathetic, emotional baby, don't call into the show. You don't need to. You really don't need to. You could do something else with your night. You could buy more tissues. Look at my lips some more. Because you fantasize about my lips, so you gotta have fun with that.
Call from.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up?
Hey, I wanted to find out why you don't want to talk to people that didn't vote.
I mean, right now I'm just, I feel like in these elections, the stakes are really high. And non-participation in general. I mean, even if you said you vote third party, I'll talk to you. But if you don't vote at all, even for local elections, school board, etc., then yeah, I don't really want to hear from you if you have the ability to and you don't. People fought and died for the right to vote, and I would not. If you can't even go and vote, I don't know why I would even want your opinion on politics then. Unless if you couldn't vote because you don't know, you had an emergency or something. I don't know.
I mean, I have a criminal history, so I just found it that was not.
Okay, yeah, that'd be different. That's different though. If you can't legally vote, but you still advocate for certain issues, that's great. But if you do have the right or you do have the ability to vote, and you just simply say, I don't feel like it, that's different for sure.
I kind of feel like people vote for something that they're not really getting either way. Like you
well,
just say
I mean,
you want...
every election is like that. Like in human history, every election is lesser of two evils. So I mean, you if you wouldn't vote now, you would never have voted throughout history, probably.
But that's what I mean. Like the lesser of two evils doesn't matter. It's just whoever they can get to fill the position for the people, so they can get whatever agenda they want pushed.
But I could give you specific policies that really differentiate like Democrats and Republicans that like make me support Democrats like a lot more when it comes to like limiting money. At least like taxing the ultra wealthy a little bit more, giving a little bit more to like the VA and Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare, expanding Medicare to like negotiate drug prices. They do some trust busting and monopoly busting. The right wing does not do any of that. So there are differences for sure between the parties. They're not as clear as people would like, but
I mean, the rich are rich for a reason.
Yeah, they both serve rich people, but the Democrats do it in a lot more. They do it in a lot more fair way. And a less offensive way, like less direct. But I mean, they definitely do. But they at least provide some type of like basic safety net. They support unions. They support like labor boards and they support agencies that crack down on corruption in general. And Trump is like closing those agencies down right now, which I'm really not a fan of.
I think what he's trying to do secretly is just to get out of all the things we're tied into. And the best way to do that is to cause offense and all sorts of things so they don't want to be involved. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen no evidence of anything beneficial coming from that at all. So like NATO, for example, NATO is amazing. America paying more into it just because we're a bigger economy and we can also lead initiatives. So like, for example, we're the only NATO country to pull in other countries to fight for us and die in the Middle East, for example. So we have gotten benefits from NATO. That's the sacrifices of their soldiers. In some of our combat efforts. But yeah, it's good for us to be a part of like international organizations, for example, or USAID is a really positive thing. It's really just a carve out from the CIA to give us influence around the globe. And like cutting USAID is pro-China. It's extremely pro-China.
Do you find it noble? Yeah. Do you find it noble to like have other people fight the battles that they can't win just because we have them proxying for us?
Am I finding who noble?
Like the government. Just okay, you said that they basically get countries to join the UN to fight on our behalf, basically, and their behalf. We just give them weapons, motivation, whatever, resources, and then they fight and die for us. Do you think that's
it's
still
all
noble?
mutualistic. It helps the entire world. So like we have like NATO.
But we're the
NATO
bigger
after World War
nation.
II. NATO after World War II. We share troops in different military bases around the world. We share intel. It keeps the world stable. The reason we have not had a world war since World War II is because of NATO. And leaving NATO would almost directly cause a world war if we did not have NATO. So it benefits everyone involved.
Yeah, but do you think it's noble for us, that a big nation that we are, to like contract like smaller nations that are scared to fight and die so we don't have to?
I don't think any unjustified war is noble, but I do think it's noble to be a part of NATO. We could change
but we
our
could end it
involvement
so
as far
much
as,
quicker
like,
than they.
And what?
We could end it so much quicker than they can.
Yeah, but we benefit
have
from
the
everyone being
training.
involved.
No, we
Like the
cower
globe.
because we don't want to offend the wrong people.
But no, like when it comes to NATO, the point is to not fight. It's a stabilizing mechanism. It's a defense treaty. It's never offensive. So like the point is to not fight. That's the point of NATO.
Yeah,
That's why we
it's
have
just-
global stability.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just there so that people don't want to try it. You know what I mean? I get it. It's a good deterrent, but like what I'm saying is we send people to die instead of just taking care of it ourselves and helping those people out from dying. So it's not really a noble cause that we're saying them to do.
Why are you saying noble? I'm just saying that it benefits everyone involved. I mean,
Okay, the Democrats are better because they care more about such and such policies, such and such things, and you know, all that stuff. But they're not really noble either way. They're doing whatever they want to do to benefit. So do the Republicans. Like they do the same thing, but just in a rich person way. Yeah, I mean, they have greed behind their stuff more so, but none of it's noble. Like the whole thing is like
they're
we're not
tools.
noble.
It's all
no matter what
tools.
we're doing.
Well, I'm not putting morals on it for a reason. Everyone's a tool. But like when I look at democratic tools, the influences at the table include, you know, big tech. It includes big money. It includes some like big oil. It includes those functions. It also includes things such as like union organizers. It includes teachers unions. It includes civil servants who just like care about it. And it includes activists. That includes the political party. So like it's a lot of different influences, where I'd say on the right you have a couple. Your influences are a lot less centered around policies that would help people. That's one reason the right is just like anti-government. They don't have any policies that like are functional. They just want to get rid of policies and like let the free market do things. But they typically like they don't want to monitor corruption. They don't want to monitor it at all. They don't want to monitor monopolies. They want to deregulate to a really bad extent sometimes. So yeah, I mean they're all tools. I don't put morality on it for a reason. I'd probably say like someone like Bernie. Like Bernie Sanders, if you're going to take zero corporate donations at all your entire life, only small dollar, I would say, like, I could tell he's pretty principled. I mean, he calls himself a democratic socialist in American politics. So I know he's principled.
I would have voted for
and takes
Bernie.
small dollars.
I would have voted for Bernie.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Bernie would have killed Trump. Like, Bernie would have beat Trump by so much in 2016 if they would have let him in there.
But see, they don't want Bernie in there because Bernie wants to do good for the people.
Yeah, but I would say, like, I'd say Trump is like evil Bernie. He's like a populist, but he wants to do the opposite. Like he wants to, instead of like restricting money in politics, Trump right now is signing executive orders to make corruption easier and to make corruption more legal.
My girlfriend wants me to ask you, do you think Trump is the Antichrist?
I don't know if he's the Antichrist, but he's definitely hurting America globally. But the things with Israel right now in Palestine is definitely disgusting. It might amount to a genocide when it's all said and done. It's definitely going to be ethnic cleansing. So I mean that's terrible.
So what do you think's going to happen maybe months or a year from now?
Well, right now we are undergoing a major constitutional crisis because Donald Trump is ignoring the congressional oversight, congressional power of the purse. He's just unilaterally dismantling government agencies with Elon Musk, who's a special government employee, never confirmed anything. And also he's locking down these buildings, hacking into the systems. He's using private security to go and just like ransack our organizations. And also, not only are they ignoring Congress in these endeavors, but also they've already ignored multiple court orders. And the White House has said they're not going to listen to the courts, and they're not going to listen to Congress. They believe the executive branch should function without any checks and balances on its power, and that really scares me. I don't want an executive branch that has no limits on it, because I don't want a king in America.
Yeah, so you're saying he's just basically trying to become the first dictator in America.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Seize the power with all this stuff.
It's the unitary executive theory they talked about in Project 2025. Their intent goal, and you could read it. Like literally, they're following the steps like one for one. Their goal is to say the executive branch should be unrestricted in any actions. Congress is just for like providing some type of like recommendation, essentially. Yeah, they want to take power away from all these other
or a tiebreaker
branches.
Or
like Congress can pass certain like funding, but the federal government, the executive branch, is not going to follow whatever laws they pass, which is what they're kind of doing right now. And the judges have said there's Reagan judges, okay? There's Democratic judges, there's Trump appointed judges who are now reading these cases and saying, no, this is like blatantly against the law. You need to stop. And the response is, we're not stopping. We don't care. And these are Trump judges. These are judges Trump appointed, Reagan appointed judges. And they're saying to stop. And they're just like, nope, we don't care. But J.D. Vance openly said that. They're not planning on stopping. And this is like the major constitutional crisis, because it doesn't matter what ideology it is. If someone's power hungry, you can fracture our government beyond the point of return. Like once your constitution's gone, and that's the thing that made America great, right? That makes America stable for so long, the longest surviving constitution in the modern age. But no founding document can hold someone who wants ultimate power, especially if the citizens are on board with it. And I feel like citizens kind of want a monarchy. They kind of see him as like a god king.
Well, they see him as a savior right now because we've been going through some shit. You know what I mean? And it's just a scare tactic. And the Democrats were in charge for how many years before all this?
So well, Democrats did a really good job governing, like after the pandemic.
Well,
the pandemic was
really
not in their control.
But if it was really good, then how comes like shit hasn't been really good since the 80s and 90s, from my point of view?
That's mostly emotional and social and cultural stuff, because like since the 80s and 90s, our crime rate has collapsed. Our graduation rates for high schools have like went up by 40%. It's at like 90% now. It was like 60. We're solving diseases we never thought we could solve. HIV/AIDS is basically solved. There's a lot of different. We're solving obesity right now. We have supercomputers in our pockets that have more power than like computers used to have. They filled up whole rooms. We have some of the most extraordinary technology ever. Yeah, we're solving. Yeah, we have the lowest poverty rate globally of all time.
But are we actually solving those problems, or is it temporarily looking like they're solved?
No, we're objectively making things a lot better in the world, but people are pessimistic because we're on social media 24/7. Like versus the 90s, America's 50 times better today. The crime rate, I think, went down like 30%, like or something crazy since like in the last like, 40 or 50 years.
Has any disease developed because of a vaccine before?
I'm not sure about any disease, but like measles is making a return because people are not getting vaccinated for it anymore.
You can only stop things for a certain point just to make it good enough to be gone in people's minds.
Well, no, measles. Well, yeah, they forgot about it. Then they stopped getting measles vaccinations, and now the low vaccinated measles counties are getting measles again.
Yeah, so it's like ignorance plays a part in that tremendously. I get it, but like
you know the quote where it's like.
Go ahead.
No, the quote that says "weak times create weak men" or whatever. I feel like that's true, but it's usually for the people that say it. Because the issues we're fighting on right now are literally just like Trump. The only things he's done that makes people happy are the pronouns and gender stuff and trans stuff and DEI. Like he has not done one fundamental policy to help Americans. And he wants to do tariffs still, which would hurt Americans largely. So like people are really just happy with Trump now because of the social issues. And that's why I said before that people vote off the social issues and emotional topics more. And that's a really bad thing because you could be kind of led in any direction. They believe anything Trump says. Like there was a lie about like $50 million being sent to Gaza for condoms. like we sent like 2 billion condoms to Gaza for Hamas to make condom bombs, and that was just like made up. The White House said that. If the White House is going to be saying bullshit like that, I don't know what else they're going to lie about.
I mean, all right, so I want to go back to what I was asking you earlier. So, like, for the past how many years that Democrats were in charge, like, even with Bush, I think Bush was, like, I guess a Democrat in my eyes, but, like, how much good did they do if we were going into poverty more and more since Clinton, right?
I don't think so. Like, in poverty more? I mean, in debt as a country, yeah, in debt, but, like, Bush is the one that started that. It's not poverty. National debt is not poverty.
So what would you equate that to? Why do we have it if it's not?
We're still the richest country in the world because we take it's like Amazon just starting and taking loans out for investments. The thing that matters for debt is if we have really good investments that have economic growth that outpaces the debt growth. So we've had no issues with the debt because of that. The number itself doesn't matter as much. I would say like Bush's tax cuts were extreme, trickle down economics. Trump's tax cuts were extreme as well, geared towards the ultra wealthy. So those are what increased our deficit a lot. It was actually going to go down to Obama got our deficit down to $500 billion after 2008, his final year, but Trump beefed it back up again with his tax cuts, and the tax cuts did not help the economy, like the overall economy, that much. So I mean, it's hard to say because a lot of his vibes, even people's like financial situations, are largely vibes based. Because you look at Republicans right now. They say the economy got better already, and the economy's gotten worse. Grocery prices have gotten worse. Egg prices are like dying.
Real quick?
Yeah, I could find that economic.
Can you pull up the $500 billion with Obama? I had never heard that before.
Oh yeah,
you just said it. So
national debt per year.
Like I don't really have a side, by the way. I would probably, before talking with anyone this year or whatever, I would probably have sided with more like Trump. Just because like I'm tired of how things have been going. But I don't necessarily have a side because I don't believe either of them is going to do anything good for you and me. You know what I mean? Or people in Gaza or Palestine or any of that shit.
Like for the country, like Biden's growth for the working class and middle class, like lower middle class, was the best since FDR. Like he did the most infrastructure spending, manufacturing spending. We got much more manufacturing jobs under Biden than we did Trump. Trump actually lost manufacturing jobs from the tariffs. But the vibes matter more, and Biden sucked at messaging. There's like America was I'm trying to find the right graph, sorry, but America was the #1 economy after COVID, like the #1. Biden led the economy to be #1 globally, but they suck at messaging. Like in the inflation in America, it was 10 times worse than every other country. But yeah, Biden left with the lowest approval rating of all time, and now, yeah, I don't know. Let me see.
So then, who are you going to vote for next year? If it's like, who's going to be the Democratic front runner?
Well, next year will be the midterms. I'm going to be voting straight Democrat because 0 Republicans are standing up for the Constitution right now, and the Constitution is literally being torn to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Had to sneeze real quick.
Do you think anything good could come from that at all, or is it just all bad news regardless?
For out of what?
From dismantling the Constitution.
No, it's going to lead to authoritarianism at a level never seen before. So like Elon Musk, you look this up. Look up Curtis Yarvin. Elon Musk believes in a technocracy. So he's the one going through all these government agencies right now. He believes that the world should be ran by dictators, the tech oligarchs. That's his ideology. Peter Thiel believes in this as well. Peter Thiel handpicked J.D. Vance to be Trump's VP. Those are the real enemies for me. Trump is just like a puppet for them. But they believe in corporate states. So they want us to be in a bunch of like kingdoms. Like back in feudalism, we had kingdoms and serfdoms, and we had a bunch of different like empires fighting each other. They want corporate states where every like corporate CEO is like a mini monarch, like a tech monarch. Look up Curtis Yarvin, and that's what Musk wants. That's why they want to kill the government. That's why they're going after the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is just like the best government agency of all time for limiting corruption. Like that stops corruption. It's the law enforcement to protect the American people from corrupt companies that came after the 2008 financial crisis. Musk killed it unilaterally, bypassing Congress, bypassing the courts, ignoring court orders, killing the Constitution. So everything they're doing is moving towards authoritarianism. So no matter what party's in charge of the system, if they kill the Constitution, it's going to be some type of authoritarian dictatorship. It just will be. It's really scary. And the censoring they're doing right now with DEI at the federal level, they're scanning hard drives to make sure that no one has to make sure you're fully loyal to Trump or you can't stay in the White House. Like, bureaucracy works for a reason. It's because you have people in bureaucracy from Reagan administration, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. Like, you have people from every administration in bureaucracy. That's why it's a tool against corruption, is because they're career servants, yeah, but they're appointed by different political parties and overlapping over time. So you have a lot of different ideologies conflicting on what policy should be, which is good for healthy debate. Killing bureaucracy is the number one way to get authoritarianism in America, and that's what they want to do. They want to fire every federal worker and consolidate power in a handful of people in the executive branch while bypassing checks and balances. So yeah, removing the Constitution. I love the Constitution. It's why America's America. If we get rid of that, we're screwed. Honestly, I don't know what'll happen, but it's going to be societal collapse. Like, I'm not even being doomer by saying that.
Do you think that all of this is being done right now because of the one world government thing that they've been trying to do?
I don't think they want one world government. I think they're just anti-democracy in general. So like Elon Musk is supporting the AfD, which is like the neo-Nazi party in Germany. And they're just anti-government. They're radicals. They want to support radical parties everywhere, so government falls apart everywhere because governments protect freedom. The government people don't like is the government that serves the ultra elites. But our founding fathers made it clear you need a very strong government for the people and by the people to protect people. You need a strong government.
Ours is the only one. Ours is the only one that does that, which is why I
well, Europe's even more free than we are. They have some more restrictions on speech, but also the restrictions on speech help them not have they don't have a lot of neo-Nazi issues now because they just don't let that kind of stuff be shared. So you could debate
being
that.
Attacked as well?
Yeah, but like Germany just had they're a country of 80 million people. They just had a 200,000 person protest in the streets. They're a lot more educated on the history of these kind of movements. But it's hard
we're
to.
a younger nation, though.
It's difficult to, but they went through the Holocaust though. That's why they're very keen on it. So they directly had to face it. America, we did not have to fight that on our home soil. So we're pretty disconnected. And the Great Generation died off. Like World War II, they all died off now. So we can't even talk to them about the mistakes of the past. So and it's hard to say today to someone who voted Trump because number one, they won't be convinced, and number two, there's a lot of parallels to the way the Nazi Party gained power in Germany in terms of using the legal system. Hitler was able to use the legal system in Germany, and I'm not saying Trump's Hitler. I think Elon Musk is Hitler. But they were able to use the legal system in Germany, and they were able to use legal means to topple democracy in Germany. Because he tried doing an actual coup. It was like a January 6th style event, but they actually pushed on like the beer push thing, the beer hall push or whatever.
Yeah.
They tried it through violence. It did not work. So Hitler decided after he was in prison for 9 months, which is a low sentence because there were pro-Nazi judges. Pro-Nazi judges empowered Hitler and helped him pardon all of his friends, and never gave him like a real repercussion for it. Similar to Trump after January 6th, he never got held accountable for anything, any part of like trying to say the election was stolen. And then Hitler decided, okay, we have to do it through legal means. So the number one asset for Nazis were Nazi scientists, and also Nazi lawyers. They were able to flip the European system or the Germany system on its head. And get consent to do it largely. So like right now it's similar in a way that they've been able to destabilize the courts and shift public opinion away to the point where people are pissed off. But I would say that a lot of the anger is definitely misdirected. We live in a really good time in human history. People are pissed off, usually because they see things they get mad at, and they're told certain things they get mad at. But when it comes to total like material well-being in America today, there's no reason at all to be more mad today materially than we were in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s or 2010s. Things are much better today for everyone, pretty much, than it was back then.
I don't know, man. I see a lot of struggling families nowadays, and when I grew up,
the poverty rate during Reagan was much higher, though. Like, let me look it up.
I don't know. When I was younger, I can't remember how other people would have felt as much, but I know what I felt when I was younger, and I felt more comfortable in the world. I felt freer in the world because, like, I wasn't so scrutinized for everything, mainly because of technology, I guess, but, like, it just doesn't seem right anymore, and it never will be again. And I feel like it's going to come to a civil war, and then just something's going to happen where the whole world gets controlled by one government. You know what I mean?
Well, it could be like 1984. Like the poverty rate today is much lower than it was in the 90s. People are pissed off, though. They're pissed off. And half the people I know, like 99% of the Trump supporters I talk to, okay, they understand the world. They talk in complete lies. Not because they lie, but because they're taught lies. So Everyone believes USAID. Everyone believes now. I saw a girl having a panic breakdown, saying she can't afford her groceries. And meanwhile, we're sending this money to have Ben Stiller go to Ukraine for a photo op with Zelensky. Now, that was a completely fake story. The celebrities that went there were self-funded or funded by like a nonprofit. It was not by USAID. But now I guarantee like 90% of Trump supporters in America believe that the USAID, number one, paid for Politico to be a left organization, paid for New York Times, and they believe that we sent celebrities to Ukraine for $50 million, which are all fake things that people are pissed off about, or like kids getting trans surgeries in schools randomly, which is not happening anywhere. People are pissed off about that. They're mad about things that are not real, so that creates a higher level of conflict. Because if people are going to be believing anything, they'll do anything, right? So there's a big issue. Big reason to be scared there, and you can't really convince them off of it because I can't disprove that. I can't disprove something that's not true.
But do you like ever think about the possibility of a civil war starting because of the Trump supporters versus the Democrats or whatever else you want to say?
Democrats don't want to do it. The issue is that in 2020, Trump supporters stormed the Capitol because their guy lost. So they're at the cult stage. They're at the cult like dictator, cult of personality stage. Like Trump was able to convince them that he actually won, which he definitely did not. He got blown out. But he still says today that he won. He controls reality. The number one cause is going to be Trump and the right-wing movement in America. The left is not playing any role in the social deterioration. It's all the right. With gay stuff.
You don't think they'd stand up and fight though?
No, I'm saying that the left will have to protest for sure, but the ones causing the violence are the neo-Nazis and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, who are all pretty much neo-Nazis, but are the neo-Nazis pushing the violence.
Disregard who starts it. You don't think that A, the Democrats would fight back if initiated on, or B, vice versa? You know what I mean?
Democrats don't want to fight, but I mean, if they're protesting and something happens, they're going to protest. But I don't think Democrats want to fight. The militant ones that are armed are the right wing. They're very armed. And they have actual militias and stuff. Like the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, and all that kind of stuff are very organized. There's nothing like that on the left at all. The right wing has like 50 different organizations.
I'm sure there's something on both sides. Like I can't claim to know everything about everything.
Hey man, if you find a left wing militia, tell me, because I am interested in it. I'm not interested. I'm interested to hear about it.
I'll do some research and I'll call back again eventually. I don't want to take up all your time. I want to hear some other people too, because I like to hear shit more than say shit. But I just wanted to find out mainly why you wouldn't want to talk to someone that might have a good opinion just because they didn't vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not in the mood right now. It's just one of those nights.
And one more thing before I get off. Do you still have that statistic with Obama at all, or was it not able to be found? I don't remember.
I just found the overall. See, this doesn't say the exact number here, but you could see if you look up just like. Oh, 1 second.
I'm looking at
here's a good graph.
You can share the screen.
Here's a good graph, actually. I did find a good graph. So you can see under Obama, under Clinton, our national debt was able to go to our surplus, right? So after that surplus, Bush came in and said, screw that. If you're looking at the stream, Bush came in and said, screw that, passed huge tax cuts for the rich. And also the war effort, of course. So huge tax cuts for the rich and the war effort spiked it. We deregulated Wall Street somewhere around here. They started making risky investments down here. Okay, we went into some debt before the crisis started. I'm not sure why we went into more debt here. It might have been another military campaign, not sure about the timeline. But Obama came in. We had to spend a lot of money to get out of the Great Recession, which was definitely, we came out of that a very successful way. People are mad about it, but I think we should have held banks more accountable. But regardless, the economic policy was sound. We were able to keep inflation stabilized even after spending all that money. And then Obama got it all the way down to here, which was like 450 billion or something like that. After that, the economy grew the same rate Obama's final 2 years and pretty much every year under Trump. But the issue is Trump passed the huge tax cuts for the wealthy. And I would agree with the tax cuts if you only did them for the middle class, for sure. But he didn't do that. Obama did only middle class tax cuts. He raised the taxes for the wealthy, or he kept the top line where it was, and he lowered it for working and middle class. But Trump took that tax cuts for the wealthy and made our national deficit balloon again for zero reason. And they said, just like trickle economics always says, like, okay, if you cut taxes, companies are going to produce a lot. In reality, they just do stock buybacks typically and enrich their shareholders. So yeah, it ballooned under Trump for no reason. Like this deficit increase right here was so bullshit. Like, there's no reason we should have gone through this period of these first 3 Trump years. Or first 4 Trump years, because the final year would be COVID, and we don't blame Trump for COVID because the spending was kind of necessary, obviously. I blame Trump for not handling COVID good and also spreading conspiracy theories, but then under Biden, we got it back down to a reasonable amount, and now we are stabilized at like where Obama took office. So we are, I mean, it's going to be higher. It's going to be higher just because we're further along in time, inflation, etc. But now Trump wants to increase the debt ceiling by $5 trillion now to pass more tax cuts for the wealthy. That's Trump's first priority legislatively.
Can I ask you if you got the vaccine or not?
I got the first one and I got 1 booster. Then I got lazy.
See, I didn't get any of that, and I noticed a lot of people that I care about that actually got it started getting very ill like years after they got it already. And I don't know what your take on that is.
Well, there's no documented medical proof about it. So I mean, things happen.
I mean, you can't go by that though, because our government's very clever. They're 50 years ahead of us at all times, at least, and they could have something that we can't detect at any time.
I mean, every government globally was on board with the vaccine. So I mean, it's hard to say that. Like, there's a lot of countries that are free, not free, super free, maybe authoritarian, libertarian, etc. European Union, us, Canada, Mexico. Like, we would have heard something of real reporting from somewhere. But yeah,
it feels like it would go back to that one world government thing I was talking about, though, because if they did want something
if that were
to
true,
happen,
yeah, sure.
I mean, like I believe it more and more every time I think about all this stuff, because I hear everyone's
There's
stuff,
some
both
sense
sides.
of the money powers, but in terms of like the vaccine, the medical community, I would give 0% chance that there's a government hiding stuff at that level, or like a cabal keeping secrets from us about the vaccine, especially because
COVID
like
was one of those things.
No, but I know people that work in these
COVID
fields. I know you have to understand though. This is like, you're saying for this to work that 500 million people need to be in a conspiracy where none of them leak any information on it.
It don't have to be a conspiracy, though. It don't have to be a conspiracy. Like, imagine for a second that ignorance is a huge part of everyone's life. You know what I mean? Like, they might be bamboozled at any point. You know what I mean?
But they're doing this only makes sense if you don't know the processes, though. So if you went and talked to someone who works in virology, I think that's how you say it, or if you talk about how to make a vaccine, or how immune response works, or how the clinical trials went, they would be able to explain this to you. I can't. I do know people like that who can explain it to me, but in general, we would have definitely heard about it. Right now, I mean, Trump is censoring the CDC on the bird flu, so I don't know how that's doing it, but he's censoring the CDC and our health departments. So Trump is the one that's cutting off connection from these places. Liberals are typically really free flowing about that kind of information for vaccines. But the biggest things I hear anti-vaxxers say, number one, is that vaccines have mercury in them, which is not true. That stopped in like 2000. And number two, they say that the vaccine gene edits your DNA, which is also not true. It cannot go in your DNA. mRNA cannot go in your DNA, in your nucleus. It's a messenger protein. It does a message for your cell.
Isn't that mRNA? Isn't that part of the DNA that they needed to restructure just for the vaccine to take effect to begin with?
No. So the messenger RNA, goes into the blood. It goes to a cell, and it sends a message to that cell to start producing antibodies. Versus like a cell being infected by a dead version of a illness, which is like a regular vaccine. The mRNA just sends that messenger right to the cell. It doesn't go in the nucleus. It does not change DNA. Like, getting a disease does not change your DNA. It does the same thing as a regular vaccine, but just with different messaging proteins. It's not like that big of a difference.
Altering a DNA is still changing it slightly, even if it's not removing.
No, it's not. It's not touching the DNA. Nothing about the DNA changes at all for this process.
The message is what I'm talking about, though. The message is what's changing the thing, because at one point it's not doing something, and then you're sending a message to do something.
No. The message is sent to it's sent to the proteins in the cell. There's other areas of the cell that receive the message, not the nucleus. To edit the gene, your genetic makeup in your DNA, you need to travel inside the nucleus to even get to the DNA, and it's not even like a possible thing with a vaccine. But still, it doesn't ever go in. It does not go in your nucleus. It does not go in your DNA. It's impossible.
But maybe but isn't your DNA in every cell of your body?
Yeah, but the cell itself is like, I mean, I can look up a diagram of a cell, but so like, if your nucleus is in the middle, I'm trying to think of what part receives the message. 1 second. What portion? So. Okay, so. Yeah, so the mRNA vaccine, instead of your cell reacting to it, it goes right to your ribosome, I'm pretty sure, which is a part in the cell on the outside that receives the messages and tells it to create the protein. So all it needs to do is reach your ribosomes, I'm pretty sure, in your cell. Yeah, ribosomes receive it. It does not go anywhere near the DNA.
Still a little confused with it, but that's fine. All right, well, it's been good talking to you, man. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I still want to hear if you're just still going on with more people.
Like, the ribosomes are outside the nucleus. Like, they're outside the nucleus. The DNA is in the nucleus.
Okay. So the nucleus is in one point in the body, or is it in all points of the body?
If you look at
Okay,
1 second.
I'm probably gonna look up something after I get off, because I don't know, the way I was like I don't know, I guess I learned it in school, was like our DNA makes up all of our body. Yeah, I mean, not just one point in our body. So like, even if
Are you familiar with like what a cell is like, though?
Say what?
Are you familiar with what a cell is like?
It's been years, man. It's really been years. I'm not
So
trying
if you look on the screen, okay.
I'm looking.
Okay, there's a cell. All right, you have the membrane that things can permeate through or whatever. And I'm obviously not expert on these things. Thank you, Cam Research. Vaccine science is a bit beyond what we should be doing here. This is not even vaccine science, Cam. This is literally 9th grade. So yeah, you have the border here, and then you have the ribosomes. And the ribosomes here are what is able to receive the mRNA to send the message to the proteins to be produced to release antibodies. So like the DNA in the nucleus in there is not touched by the mRNA vaccine, and it does not have the ability to do gene editing regardless. So like the function is not there. The different parts of the cell are.
Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. So it only affects the outer layers of the cell, not the inner layers, right?
Yeah, it doesn't go. Yeah, it does not go in the DNA. The mRNA, because your cell can produce mRNA itself to give messages to the ribosomes to create different proteins. But with the mRNA vaccine, just sends mRNA to the cells directly, and then it goes in the ribosomes and gets transcribed into a different protein, and immune response is created. That's like the basic understanding of it. But it's like, yeah, the things they say for being anti-vax, like the RFK stuff and whatever else. I saw Kash Patel, the FEI possible guy. He was selling pills to de-vax yourself, to shed the vaccine, which is also not able to be done.
Yeah.
So a lot of people making money off of selling these ideas and lying about it. Like RFK makes money from anti-vax merch. He has an anti-vax consulting company. He does anti-vax. He makes millions of dollars from speaking for anti-vax companies. He has an anti-vax deal with a law firm. So he makes a lot of money through being anti-vax, for example, or being vaccine skeptical.
Yeah. I don't make nothing. I just see what I see, and I just was curious how you viewed it. You know what I
but
mean?
he's a propagandist that lies about it. But it's important to know that when he lies about it, because it's like, oh, he's profiting off of this. That's probably why he's saying this.
I mean, every one of them profit. They profit off of just saying two words. Like they know what investment.
Well, the
they
doctors
have
I know that
say.
make the actual vaccines don't, though. Like the people that do the research that actually make the whatever. You can say what you want about the companies, but the scientists and medical experts, it does not work like that. Like when I say RFK, he's a propagandist. He's a rep for a certain movement. I'm talking about the hard science of it being fundamental. And like RFK says things about the vaccines that are inherently false, like such as they have mercury in them, which mercury has not been put in them since the early 2000s.
Mm.
All right. Yeah, you can look up stuff on, I don't know, from Harvard Medical School or something. But yeah, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, man. Sorry, like that took up so much, but you have a good one, man. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Hope to see you around, and yeah, have a good one. Yeah, I mean, us propagandists need to understand this stuff, okay? Because all the medical field has is Dr. Mike on YouTube to talk about anything. I keep saying that medical research facilities need to start investing in PR. Or at least investing more in PR and messaging. Like, I could say the basic functions of the cell, or like a basic function of how the vaccine works in general. All right. Benny Johnson, Russian propagandist. I love him. Free food. Who funded? Who sent donation in? I don't even know. All right, go to the horizontal, losers. Here you go. Getting seepy, man. I might have to cut it. Go to the horizontal. Horizontal stream. Horizontal.